G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza, and today we're going to do a character design session. Basically how this works is I do this live on Twitch with the help of my Twitch chat, and we put together a bunch of different polls. The first is the gender, the second is the character race or species. Next we have character vocation, and you can see a variety of things from Viking to treasure hunter to librarian. Then we have design feature from things like blue skin to muscular to extremely old to drunk. And then last but not least, the prop/power. So they've been voting away on all of these polls, so let's find out one at a time. We're going to be drawing a female who is a centaur. Wait, no, skeleton is the winner at 26%. Oh my god, it's a dead tie. I'm gonna go to the other polls and we'll come back to it and see if we're doing a skeleton or a centaur. All right, character vocation, essentially their job. Treasure hunter, cool. Their design feature, drunk, okay. And last but not least, we have the prop or power of having a pet. Very cool. All right, so let's go back to our race/species and refresh the page. I'm going to be creating a skeleton treasure hunter. That's kind of cool. So obviously this is a mishmash of traits that's a little weird conceptually at first, but the thing I love about these character designs is trying to come up with a way that it feels like it makes sense. It feels like the character design is a part of a universe that lives and breathes and exists. And I like to feel like at the end of this, we're gonna have something we can look at and say, that makes sense. This is cool. So we're gonna try and do that. And as part of that design process, I start off by playing around, coming up with a bunch of random sketches and just seeing what fits. And over time we refine it until we have a final design. So the first thing I wanted to do was sketch out some skeletons and add some props and features to try and figure out how I can make this character look feminine first and foremost, and then also add the other features that we had to work with in our design. The challenge with making a skeleton look feminine is really in the absence of lovely eyelashes or luscious lips or boobs. All of these things sort of don't exist on a skeleton. So I had to find other things to accentuate, things like hair, things like the figure and the hips, and then also aspects of the costume that I could use to perhaps allude to the former presence of, you know, boobs and hips. All that other stuff aside, while working around those challenges, I'd still had to come up with a character who was a treasure hunter and drunk and had a pet. So it was definitely a difficult one conceptually to begin with, but as I started to refine the character concept of having a skeletal pirate character who is a treasure hunter and finding ways to have her piratey outfit accentuate her femininity, then while adding props of things like bottles and other things alluding to her alcoholism, we can slowly get an idea as to what's going to work with our character concept. After trying a whole bunch of different combinations and mixes of things, I settled on something I thought was working pretty well, specifically having a corset on the character and some draping sleeves and a large head of hair and some hair that's covering half of the face, I think to sort of disguise the fact that her face is a skull, which is in itself a little unnerving when you're trying to design a character. And I actually, to make my design a little more challenging, wanted to create a character who was going to be a heroine or a protagonist rather than a villain or someone who's just a discardable character. With her rough design finished, including a few props like a bottle and a shovel, I move on to sketching up a few concepts as to pets I thought that could work, from a parrot to a crow, and then onto a snake, a rat, and a weasel. And I actually couldn't decide which I wanted to work with. I put it to the Twitch chat and they picked weasel, which in hindsight is a really cool choice because it adds to that whimsy and the relatableness if we're trying to create a more protagonist style hero. So with our concept nailed, it's time to work on our finished character concept sketch, and I move on to a fresh piece of blending card. And you'll notice that my sketching style is quite different when getting ready to create the final line work and color piece. Specifically, I'm sketching extremely lightly and nailing down the geometric construction before even touching details or features. It's once I have the solidity of the core physical aspects of the character done that I move on to adding the details from the face to the clothing and then the background as well. When I'm happy with all the construction work, I move on to my line work, creating the line work of this piece with a 0.2 fine liner and slowly going through all of the details and making a clean line version of my illustration. It's in this process that I really enjoy seeing things come together, where they felt more like a concept previously. As the line work comes together, I really feel like what began as an abstract challenge and set of ideas is coming together into a tangible and enjoyable character. Once I've finished my line work, I go through the whole piece and erase all of my construction lines, leaving nothing but a very clean line work of my skeleton character, except I do leave very faint lines in the background outlining the silhouette of the clouds and the way that they are going to frame the image. Now in a piece like this, especially when you have ambitions when it comes to color, like a sunset background, it's really important to cover the palette first, meaning playing with and testing combinations of colors until you find the right sets for the right elements of your image. When you test colors on a sample piece of paper like this, you can see immediately what does and doesn't work with each other, and you're not risking the outcome of your final image. So now it's time to take my carefully planned palette and apply it to my image, starting off with a sunset background and a set of about 5 or 6 colors that I go through in order and create the sunset gradient from a rich orange through to gold and then a light then dark blue. By constantly returning to the previous colors and then blending again, and then later coming back with a very large colorless blender marker, the entire sunset in the background becomes both blended well into itself, which is a bit difficult with such a variety of different colors, but also pushed into the background through the softening that happens by slathering on that colorless blender. So layer by layer and color by color, I go through the entirety of the character, building from lights to darks and blending as I go to create the final concept art of my character. With the colouring of the character done, I go through with some final finishing touches, the first being to go through with a very rich gold marker and just go around some of the edges. After I've done that, I finish off by going around the character herself with a 0.5 fine liner, and this does two things. It solidifies her silhouette and also helps me clean up some of the edges I've gone over a little bit more than I would have planned. By adding these two little finishing touches, I thought the whole piece was tied in really well together and created a really cool finished aesthetic. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this character design session, and this is the result. Once again, those prompts were a female skeleton who is a treasure hunter and who is drunk and has a pet. I sort of interpreted that as an undead pirate lady who perhaps when she died and became an undead character, she was maybe drunk, and then as part of the spell, her animated body was forever drunk and she maintained her sentience. And she's a protagonist in a story where she is on a quest to hunt for a mystical treasure that can restore her to her human self. So if you guys enjoyed the result of this character design session and you love this artwork, you can get it for yourself. I have officially opened, as of like a week or two ago, my official print shop. I've been an art channel for 5 years and only just opened a print shop, so that's a bit dumb of me. But there are a bunch of different things you can get. So you can get posters or artboards or framed prints or photography prints, but the main print style is this. This is just the good old-fashioned art print. This is a character design session I did a while ago. I'll put the link in the card if you want to check this one out. The level of detail and quality of print has way exceeded my expectations as far as what I was hoping for when I set up a print shop. So if you want to get this thing in a really high quality print or poster, go check it out with the link in the card and in the description. It's a support to me, and of course if you love this, you get a little bit of a token for yourself as well. That brings us to the end of this character design session, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy the result, and of course subscribe if you haven't, where we have fun with art here 3 times a week. But that is it for now, and until next time, I'll see you later. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to see more of my videos, and while you're at it, check out my shop where I sell ebooks, brushes, photo references, video courses, and more. There's another video you might enjoy from my channel over there, and you can also check out my behind the scenes daily vlog channel, Daily Jazza. That's it for now, and until next time, I'll see you later.